Today we're going to update the podcast for the Geek to Me radio site. And there's a number of steps to go through it, but I've broken it down. So even though it looks like there's a lot to do, there's really just 3 or 4 steps that really have to get done. So the first thing that you need to understand is that the site is automated. So it pulls in news stories on its own, and it pulls in podcasts on its own. The podcasts need to be updated. So the most recent podcast is always on the front page here, and it's always towards the bottom here. It's number 202, right? So the first thing that we want to do is we want to go back up and we want to look at the podcast page, right? So remember, the most recent episode was 202. If I look at this page, it's clearly number 198. So that has to be changed, right? That player and that information needs to be changed. So here's how we change it. I go back to the player, or I go back to the podcast, and I click and I open it. So I'm now on the actual player for a podcast. And if you look at this, there's some information that will need to be updated on this one too. But right now, I'm just focused on changing that top thing, the blurb on the other page, on the main podcast page. So what I do is I edit the podcast, and while I'm in here, I copy this. This is the podcast player from the most recent podcast. I'll just click on it. And then I press Control-C to copy it, right? Now, I want to go back to that page. To the main podcast page. And I'm going to edit this, right? So I'm going to enable the visual builder. Click that button at the top. And it's going to load. And so I am going to change this out. So I click the little gear icon, and I delete the prior information, and then I paste in that new episode. So Control-V pastes it. There it is. Eric Fellows, right? So then, to save this change, I press the check mark. Well, you'll notice that down here, there is another one of those. So the one on the top is for a desktop. The one on the bottom is for an iPad. So you need to change that one also. So I'm going to click the gear again. I'm going to delete out the old one. I'm going to paste in the new one. And I am going to click the check mark. Now the only other thing that needs to be changed on this page is this information up here. So I click on the gear icon up here, and I want to change it to episode 202, right? That's the episode we were working on. And then I want to write in some sort of information. Eric Fellows discusses break even. Right? So now I click the check mark, and then I want to exit the visual builder. So I click the exit, and it offers me the opportunity to save it, and exit. It will refresh, and you will see that the newest episode has been changed. You want to change this right? Because now it's in order. If you're on the main podcast page, this is the most recent podcast, and then the next one is 201, 202, 201, 200, 199, 198, so on and so forth, okay? So now I want to change what an individual podcast, the information on the individual podcasts. So these are individual podcasts, right? So you see here, there's a nice picture here, and then over here, there's just the logo. So I don't want the logo here. I want an individual picture here. All right. So, like I said earlier, this website imports all the podcasts. So, it imports them as custom posts. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go onto the back end. There we go. And all of my main categories are right here. So I am going to edit a podcast, right? Celebrities, projects, videos, they're all here. And in this case, remember, the podcasts are already pulled in, right? So I click on podcasts, and I want to edit a specific podcast today. I want to edit the 198 Susan Eisenberg podcast. So I click on it, and it opens up. And you'll see, there's the title of it, there's the podcast itself, and then all the information. It all comes with it, right? So now I want to change the featured image. I don't want this as my featured image. I want a picture of Susan Eisenberg. So I remove the featured image. And then I press Set Featured Image. Okay? And so now it brings me to the media gallery. And I don't have a picture of Susan Eisenberg already in here, so I need to upload a picture of her. So I come up over here to the corner, I press Upload Files, and I've got it right here on my desktop. So I'm just going to drag it and drop it. And boom, the picture of Susan Eisenberg and James comes right in. And now I just set it as the featured image. There you go. And then there's a couple more pieces of information that you need to change here. So you need to change the episode number and the episode title. So on this one, the episode number is 198, and the title is Susan Eisenberg on the Upcoming Masters, this thing up here, right? So I'm going to copy this. I'm going to add this as the title. I'm going to add the number 198 in there. And now, where'd it go? I just closed it. Okay, so now I need to update it. I'm basically saving it. So I update it right there. And I go back. And remember, this is the Susan Eisenberg episode on the podcast page. And I refresh this page. And there's Susan Eisenberg. There's her podcast. There's the information for her, right? If I go to the home page and look down here at the podcasts, well, she's kind of fallen off this page, so sorry about that. So there you go. So that's how you change the information on an individual podcast. Now let's go just a hair further with Susan Eisenberg, right? So I want to add her to my celebrity interviews page, right? So if I come to the celebrity interviews page, it has all of these people that James has interviewed. And so I want to add her picture here. And I want to be able to click on her picture. I'm going to click on Alan's here to demonstrate. I want to go to her picture. And she has her own page. And it shows an episode page for her. And if I click on this episode, it will go to her episode. So how do we change all this so that we can create a new Susan Eisenberg page, right? So just like podcasts, Celebrities has its own little section. So you click on Celebrities. I'm just going to update it one more time. I'm going to click on Celebrities, and I am going to add new. And I'm going to add a new celebrity. So Susan Eisenberg. There we go. And then all this is a container for her. This is just a container. So now I need to put her name in again into that container. Susan Eisenberg. And then I'm going to put her info in. I don't know exactly who she is, but I'm just going to say that she's an artist, right? So I put that in. Episode 1 title, I can put that in. I can put the hyperlink in and an image, right? So I am going to do that. Let me go back to her. The episode title is this this thing right here, the Masters of the Universe, right? So I'm going to type in episode 198, Susan discusses He-Man, right? Then I want to put in a picture. If I don't have another picture, I can come in here, and I've got some generic pictures in here. You can add that in. And then I want to put the hyperlink in, right? So the hyperlink that links to this particular podcast. I add this in, and then I update, or I publish it, right? So now if I go back to the celebrity interviews page, her picture's not there. Oh, that's because I didn't add a picture. So I'm going to set the featured image. I'm going to add her picture right there and update it again. Every time you got to update. Then I go back, I refresh, and there she is, right? So I'm going to click on here, and it's going to take me to her information. There she is, big old picture of Susan Eisenberg. She's an artist, and there's her movie, or her podcast. I can click on it. It will take me to the Susan Eisenberg episode. So that is how you update the system each day. And I know that looks like a lot of steps, and it kind of is, but if you keep up on it, once you get the hang of it, it's all changed. Remember, the episode number changes, all of this stuff, the pictures change, so you just want to keep current on it. And once you get the hang of it, it really only takes like 2 or 3 minutes to change it. All right.